It's really a big privilege for me to speak to you this evening on Andrew Tracey and who he was. Many of you don't know, Andrew Tracey was actually an ethnomusicologist. He worked for the last probably 30 years in Greystown, now known as Makanda, at Rhodes University. And his field of studies was mostly to do with African music. He focused especially on music from Zimbabwe, Rhodesia, the Bira music, the piano, and also a xylophone style from Mozambique called the Tracey xylophone. But in about 1965, Andrew Tracey and his brother, they were traveling in a musical called Watermelon. I don't know if any of you know that. But they traveled around the world. They performed in England, in London, they performed in America, also performed in Australia, before returning back to South Africa. But in about 1965, they were performing in London. And he was advised to visit a restaurant in London where he came across the steel band for the first time. This really astounded him, and to the point where he himself said in an interview that I did with him, he visited there every day for about a whole year while performing with Watermelon. Eventually, he actually persuaded the band to perform with them, and he even purchased his first instrument from this band in London and incorporated it into his own show, Watermelon, which then went on to perform in America. And around about the late 1960s, he returned to South Africa, and in about 1970, he introduced or started his first steel band in South Africa. This was up in Johannesburg, where he was still stationed. Around about 1976, he moved down to Greystown, as his dad, Tracey, was also an ethnomusicologist and had been collecting African traditional music in sub-Saharan Africa all the way up to the Congo and Nigeria area. And so this is housed, if you are studying African music, all this is housed in a library that is still in Jamestown, the International Library of African Music. And Andrew Tracey, Prof. Andrew Tracey, he was the director of this library for about 50 years. So while in Jamestown, he also started his own band there around about 1980. And it was the only band in South Africa for around about 15, 20 years. One of the band members that was in his band, a gentleman by the name of Sylvester, became interested in the manufacturing of this instrument, and he was the person who then started selling instruments, learning how to make them, and he started distributing them in South Africa in the early 90s. I had the privilege of being with Andrew Tracey and performing in his band from 2001 to 2007, when the band finally stopped performing. And he was also my lecturer while I was at university, doing my undergrad and my postgrad studies, focusing on this wonderful instrument. So today we are here really to celebrate the life of Andrew Tracey, and for bringing this instrument for all of us to share here, for these kids to learn an amazing musical ability. And so I'm going to ask the students to come forward. We're going to play a piece that was actually arranged by Andrew Tracey. It is one of the first arrangements that Andrew Tracey did back in 1970. It is called Kachita. So I will ask the students to come forward. It's